What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the Acura Audio Garage. So today I have a classic one. If you've been following us for a little bit, you know we do a lot of TLs. Third generation, we have a second generation Acura TL. And today, there you go guys. And today, come on. And today we're gonna be replacing the radio on this bad boy. So to take this radio out, it is a job. This, just like on your third generation, this thing has to scoot back. A lot of this trim has to come off, and it is a job. It can be done. I've read a lot of different threads. A lot of different people have different opinions. You can't put a radio on this thing. Yes, you can. You can't keep the factory sub working. Yes, you can. You can't keep the factory navigation working. Yes, you can. So I'm gonna show you how all that's done. Let me show you kind of what's going on in the car. We're not too sure exactly on the last plugs we have to use, but these are definites that you're gonna have to get and use. So your radio, welcome to the great shortage of 2021. Trying to buy Pioneer radio is almost impossible. Then we have our dash kit for a double DIN, which is gonna be a 957868B. And then your good old $2, $3, 20 pin plug. The only thing is some wires are missing here. So I'm gonna add pins to this. I need to add the steering wheel control input and the steering wheel control ground. And there might be other wires I need to add to that as well. Again, as I work through this install, I will show you what I'm doing. I'm not gonna show you the disassembly too much of this car because it's gonna make this video really lengthy. So there are disassembly videos. I'll try to hit the main points, but ultimately this has got to scoop back, and there's this has to move, and then you can get to the radio. There's bolts back here and on the other side, so it's a whole procedure. If you're doing this yourself, just be prepared. Watch not necessarily this video for disassembly, but watch a disassembly video multiple times so you get really familiar and feel more confident doing it. Because when you're kind of like, should I, I'm not sure if this comes off, is when you'll break something. When you're 100% sure, no, I've seen that on video, it comes off like this. You're a lot less likely to break something. You'll be more confident in the job that you're doing. So those are really my tips for this, guys. I'm gonna get started with the job. I'm really excited. It's actually, oh, I didn't even show you this, watch. Bam! So it's a Type S. Customer's older gentleman, doesn't take care of the car too well, but the car doesn't show any serious signs of wear, just the interior's a little dirty. He might be a smoker. But all right guys, that's it for now. I'm gonna get started with the video. I'm gonna bring you guys in as I move along the install. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a hoodie, it's because it's freaking freezing today. 20 degrees outside, and you can only keep the shop so warm. But all right guys, let me jump into this. And as always, like the video, subscribe. If you have a TL and you need some help, feel free to reach out. All right guys, so part one is removing this trim so that you can then access this hole to the neutral safety switch to allow you to move the shifter down so you have space. After that's removed, your second step is, or third step, is to just pull on this piece, just clear this area, and then pull. I don't have great lighting, I'm sorry. And then pull on this piece. Once you pull that out, it'll give you the ability to lift this up. Once you lift this up, you'll see you'll get stuck here. What needs to happen is these connectors, these switches need to be popped through the top. So they sit with two latching mechanisms. I'm sorry if I get the camera in focus. There's one on the back side, but that's really not a problem. The front one's the problem. So this one has a little bit of give. This is what you're going to push down and push up. If your switches are dirty like this one, it's going to get stuck in there, and it's going to be tough to pop out. So it took me a little bit of time to get this one out, because as you can see, this car is a little bit filthy in the center console area. So that's going to be it's making also getting this one out tricky, but just know you're going to struggle a little bit here. Ultimately, you're going to pop the switch out, and then there's a connector with just a simple blue tab, a simple tab. Just push down and pull it out like regular connectors. But that's one of the things that I just want to bring you in on, because it is annoying and a little bit troublesome, especially if this area is dirty. All right, guys. So for the next step, what you're going to need to do is take out the screws underneath there. So there's a cover, you're going to take those out. Then you're going to need to take out these screws. Now allow you to lift and separate this away from this. Now, as you can see, I wasn't able to get that second switch off. So basically what I did is I popped off the trim panels. The trim panels just remove with a pry tool, and they just come out. They're clipped on. Just be careful when pulling them off. Then I popped this piece off. This piece was just held in by these clips here, and then 2 screws. You can see that's probably removed before because it's broken, but whatever. That allowed me to get access to here, and from here I was able to make out that this is actually screwed in. The reason you're getting this off is because there's 2 screws back there. You see that gold thing? Camera won't focus. There's 2 screws back there, so if you have a long enough screwdriver, you can get to them by moving this around, this piece around. Like, you move it to the left, you move it to the right, you can get to both screws, you can remove them, and just know they're back there. Remember to get them. So now what I can do is I pop this piece off. I'm going to take it off, I'll disconnect the switch, and then once this piece is out of the car, I have more room to work with it, so I don't have to go crazy trying to get this one button out. So if you can't get the buttons out, this is a workaround. You are going to need to at least pop off this switch, or make this turn enough for you to get those 2 screws out. But alright guys, let me continue and I'll show you anything else I find. Alright guys, so managed to get that center piece off. There's one connector here you need to worry about. You disconnect in the back. It's just a regular connector with a tab. And then here you pop the fuse cover. After the fuse cover, you can pop this out. As you can see, whoever was here before has broken some stuff already. This car has some kind of aftermarket stuff in there, probably a remote start or an alarm. And then here are the other side of the radio, that we need to get to. All right guys, that's really it for disassembly. I'm gonna get the radio out. It's just those few screws left, and then we'll go from there. All right guys, before you pull the radio out, get your radio codes. Acura radio, I'll put the link in the description. You basically give them your VIN, your email, your phone number, and your zip code, and they shoot you back the radio codes. This has navigation, so it's gonna have a radio code for the navigation and a radio code for the radio. Just get those, because if the end of the day comes and you couldn't get a radio in your car, you're gonna wanna put the factory radio back, and it's not gonna work unless you have those codes. So just disclaimer, just get them, easy to do. You can get them afterwards, but just make sure you have the information or look for them. Sometimes they're in your owner's manual or somewhere on the radio. There are different places for it to be found, but a go-to place, Acura, whatever the website is. But just wanted to mention that before I continued. Alright guys, so we're on to the dash kit. The instructions are pretty straightforward on what you have to do. You assemble it together, put the radio in, and then put the climate control. So the climate control, you're going to pop forward off the old piece, and then here it's going to screw in like that. Come on, focus up. It's going to screw in like that on both sides, and here's the gap for your radio. So I'm going to fit the radio in now, and I'll show you what that looks like next. Alright guys, so here's the radio. It looks pretty clean with the little dash kit that they give you. The Metro dash kit looks very nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get started on the wiring. I just want to show you the end product here. Here's where my screw locations are, and here are my screw locations are on the other side. So I hope that helps. Let me jump to the next thing. So for the next step, you're going to need what I have in front of me. Let me show it to you. So if you want to pause the video here, feel free, but you're going to need this sheet, then this sheet, and then this stuff I have in front of me. So 3 wire taps, some remote wire, blue wire, an RCA with some speaker speaker wire terminations, and 2 of these. The reason why 2 of these is we have to take pins out of one into the other, so we don't have to wire tap the steering wheel controls. Also, if you wanted to keep your navigation working, you would need to route audio from here to the equalizer also, which would require more wire tapping. This connector, I looked for it, I can't find it. I'm sure you can find it like from an actual electronics store, but not from any retailer so far. So we might look into that, see if we can develop a solution for this. But just know that that's one of the things that you will have to wire tap some more wires for if you're looking to keep your navigation guidance audio. But I mean, that navigation's so old, why bother? And then the other thing, the reason why we have to add wires is A3 is going to be the steering wheel control positive input. All right, guys, we have most of our wiring ready. It's pretty simple how the wiring is going to get done. So I'm going to show you which two wires are going to wire tap here. It's going to be base positive blue green, base negative orange blue, and then our remote is going to go to switch battery plus, which is this white yellow. The colors might be different in your car. We'll see exactly how they fall. I'll show you that in a second. But here's my wiring harness. This is just a simple one. You're going to make all your speaker connections. This car does have an amp. The amp is mostly used for the subwoofer only. So you have a sub amp in the TL, in this TL, when you have the Bose system. And then the radio takes care of the speakers. So you don't need to use RCAs here. You only need to use RCAs for the sub, and the regular speaker harness will do. All right, guys, so we're just going to wire everything together. If you have a radio like this Pioneer that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you're going to want a parking bypass. Without the parking bypass, you're going to be locked out of certain things. On most radios, you get locked out of Apple CarPlay and not so much Android Auto. Just use it to be safe. All you have to do is color match the wires. So it has a black, a blue, and a green. You're going to go blue to white blue, then green to this light green, and then black to black. Then all the other colors are just color matching. That extra wire that we added before to this harness, it's this white that is going to our ASWC1 harness, and here it's going to go to this gray wire, and then red and black are going to go to red and black. So I'm going to wire everything together, and I'll show you when it's done. Alright, guys, so I'm almost at the final steps. As you can see, I took the navigation out. You're gonna have to take 2 screws up top here, and then the rest is clips that you can pop out. You need to ultimately, at least if you want to go this far, I got the radio working, all the speakers work, everything sounds good. I got the sub working. I didn't like the way it was sounding, so I'm just gonna go to the source. So this connector is actually clipped to the back of the Bose EQ. So I disconnected it. I took this side of the bracket off so that I could get the connector through, and now here are the wires that I need. So I'm going to peel back some tape and get to the wires that I need. If you're going to do this, I think we're going to put a solution together for this connector so you don't have to do what I'm about to do. So look for that on our stores, a very common Honda connector. So I think we can definitely put something together. Alright, guys, here's what the final looks like. So you could see, very nice, very flush. The radio would focus in. There you go, guys. As you can see, here's the final product. Radio looks very nice, very flush. All our switches are in, all our stuff's back in. And then, of course, our navigation still works. Our subwoofer works. The only thing that the customer declined to do was the steering wheel control. We are wired for it, but we thought we could upsell him. He decided he doesn't need it because his radio came with a control, so he's like, I could just use this. I don't need to pay for steering wheel controls. That's gonna be it for this video. Just something that's gonna be very important is this paperwork. So let me just, so the equalizer unit you're gonna disconnect. Then you're gonna hook up base positive and base negative, and that switch turn on, which is a yellow white. Those 3 wires are what is going to allow you to send a remote turn on and then your sub signal to your factory sub. So we got the factory sub working in this car. Navigation still works. Install's pretty straightforward. Just that one connection is the only one that could probably trip you up. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If it was helpful, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you are always interested in Acuras like us, feel free to subscribe. Acura Audio Garage is focused on Acuras of all different years and models. So if it's something you're interested in, feel free to sub up. And thanks for the support, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video.